Hi, Lifespring. This is Casey and Pastor Bill, and we're here today to talk to you a little bit about Maundy Thursday and just a little bit about what that means. So last year, if you remember, we had a reflection posted online for Maundy Thursday that was just kind of a worship experience that allowed us to enter into Holy Week. But this year, we just wanted to give some more context and just kind of explain more of what Maundy Thursday is. So Bill, will you talk to us about what Maundy Thursday is?
Sure. So obviously Maundy, Thursday, the word Maundy itself is kind of an unusual word. It's not something you ever say in normal conversation. And the only time you've ever heard the word probably is in reference to this specific day. And generally if you're in certain traditions that have services like this. But Maundy Thursday the word Maundy comes from the Latin, I'm sure I won't say this exactly right, but mandatum, which just means mandate. And the celebration of Maundy Thursday is specifically looking at celebrating the night of Jesus' arrest and the night before the next day when he is crucified, celebrating that time when Jesus took an opportunity before his crucifixion to celebrate the Passover with his disciples, and then to also give them a new commandment or mandate on how they are to live. It comes in John 13, 34 and 35, which just says, "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you. And by this all men will know that you are my disciples," or followers, "if you love one another." And on that night, Jesus does two other things of huge significance. He washes the feet of his disciples, forever changing kind of the way that we look at power dynamics. Jesus, the most powerful, God in the flesh, fully God, fully man, washed the feet of his disciples. He did not, being the one in charge, make them serve him. He served them. And he says, if I, being your rabbi and teacher and your master, if I wash your feet, then you should do that for others as well. And then the second thing he did is he gave completely a different look at what it means to celebrate Passover. And it's the context of that meal is where we get the Lord's Supper or communion. And he took a tradition that was 1,500 years old, the celebration of the Passover in the Jewish faith, and he completely redefined it in terms of himself. And so on Maundy Thursday, traditionally, you celebrate love and service, and you celebrate the Passover, which becomes the communion or the Lord's Supper.
So how do we spiritually benefit from Maundy Thursday?
Yeah, so I think with so much of the church calendar that we've been looking at, we're trying to, it's all about finding ways in our lives to be transformed at certain times, to have certain thoughts go through our mind that every year we are reminded of. And so Maundy Thursday, what I think it really challenges us to think about is power dynamics. If Jesus, being the most powerful human being, because he's not just human, he's fully human, fully God, if he served, then it gives us a whole different way of looking at what it means to be in charge and rule and have authority. It means that we serve each other, we serve others for their benefit, that we use what we have, whether that's authority or power, advantage, we use that to benefit others.
Okay, so Maundy Thursday is a day where we celebrate service and we celebrate loving one another. So how can we spiritually enter into the day of Maundy Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this being transformed into the image of Jesus is something that I think takes constant meditation. And if we don't constantly meditate on the reality and the way of Jesus, we'll be molded, as Paul says in Romans 12, into the shape of the world, the way of thinking that runs contrary to the will of God. So we must constantly be transformed, as Romans 12 says again, by the renewing of our mind. And the way I look at that is a constant meditation on the reality of Jesus, who he was and what he did. And so I think we can be impacted spiritually and change the world. What if we looked at whatever privilege, authority, power we have, not as something to advantage ourselves, but to advantage others and to serve others, you know? And we can look at it in lots of different ways. Many of us have kids. The kids don't exist to serve us. We exist to serve them, which in our culture is pretty common. You know, anyway, it takes a lot of loving on your kids so that they can become independent. I heard once, like, we give up our independence for years so that one day they may become independent, you know? But while that may be the way a lot of us look at it today, that is not the way that people throughout history have often looked at the child-parent relationship. But what about the employer-employee relationship? What about any time that you have a place of authority or power over others? The picture of Jesus is that you use that to serve, not to be benefited.
So, is there anything that you and your family personally do to celebrate Maundy Thursday?
Well, one year we don't do this every year, so I don't want to give the wrong impression that we're super spiritual or something. But no, I think it was 2020 we did it during the pandemic time. But we did a foot washing service at our house, and I know that sounds super weird. And our kids thought it was funny at first, but by the end of it, we had washed each other's feet, and then we talked about Jesus and what he did to serve one another, and how we tried to kind of look at it from the context that you are our children, but we serve you. But you also serve us. Like, we serve one another. That's what it means. In some ways, following Jesus has been described by somebody, I forget who it was, but like a race to the end of the line, which is an interesting... Nobody thinks this way. And unless you follow Jesus, you will not naturally drift to this type of thinking. But Maundy Thursday is an opportunity to reflect on the person of Jesus and to reflect on service. That's one thing we've done. The only other thing I'd say is that daily we try to reinforce with our kids that, and I pray every single night for them, and often when I drop them off at school, help us to love God and to love others. But that language, although repetitive, my kids hear it every single night, so often, is trying to reinforce that our lives are not about self-service, but about outward, loving others. And of course, love of God flows into loving others. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's just kind of, a brief overview of what Maundy Thursday is. And we just want to encourage you and challenge you to think about how you can incorporate some of those spiritual practices and just the celebration of serving others and loving others into your day and into your Holy Week practice.
Very good. Happy Maundy Thursday.
Bye.